Hey, Suzanne here with Caregiver Haven. So in our first video, this is the third part of three parts, but in our first video, we tackled information overload and we talked about how you could do a few things that change significantly and you can claim the wins at the end of the day. Then in the second one, we talked about the transformation, about giving you a caregiving experience so you can breathe again. We also, most importantly, talked about how and why your aging parent or your aging senior means an emotional toll on you. It's not your fault. It's how it is. And it's just life. We're humans. And I showed you that graph. Okay, but today we're wrapping up the three-part series with the most important piece. So this isn't about the opportunity or the transformation, but it's about the ownership. Because even with the clarity and the strategy, none of it sticks unless you take the wheel. So what I'm talking about here is if this was a road, you've come to the fork and you can either let caregiving run your life or you can choose to run your life. And that shift that you're going to make, it changes everything. What I mean by that is you're going to get your life back. So I once worked with a caregiver and she said, I feel like I don't even get to decide when I go to the bathroom anymore. And that stuck with me because it's not just about the physical tasks that we do. Again, it's the emotional toll of losing yourself. And if you haven't seen the video number 2, where we talk about this difference between caregiving and emotion, go back. I'll leave the link below. Go back and look at that. But that's the heart of the problem. Not just doing the hard things, but feeling like you don't get to choose any of it anymore. Your emotional resilience is gone. So we're going to own a new caregiving journey. And when you reclaim your role, not just as a caregiver, but as a person with choices, everything is going to shift for you. In fact, you can set boundaries, you can say no, and you can ask for help. And that doesn't make you less of a caregiver. It makes you a sustainable one. Ownership means knowing what's yours to carry and what isn't. So on the board, I have 3 concentric circles. This one, and this one. And the inner circle is your control. And the middle circle is the influence. Who or what influences you to make decisions? And then the outer circle is no control. So this is the smallest because we can't control a lot of things. Life happens. But this is a visual that we often use in the course. So let's give an example. What's in your control? What's not in your control? And what can you release? I'm going to use the emergency room because I worked in the emergency room as a PA for so long. And what I saw is this. Let's say that you're taking care of your mom or dad, and they say to you, I'm having chest pain. I can't breathe. That's a no control situation. You can't control that. All right? They're an influence to you. They're influencing you because you care for them and you need to do something. It is not in your control to start running an EKG on them. It's not in your control to get out the pulse ox and start measuring their oxygen level. It is only in your control to call 911. Okay? Now, let's go back again to this. Well, you're in control to call 911. You're back to no control. No control in where the emergency, the ambulance, is going to take your mom to a hospital. No control as to what the doctor is going to decide to do. No control as to what treatment plan they want to do for your mom. That's not your control. What is in your control in your control is to be in the waiting room to let them know that when they decide what to do, then they will call you back. But first, they got to get mom hooked up to the machines to see what's going on. Okay? So that's the no control. So you can relax because you don't have control in the ER. You have no control. Let's use another example. Let's say that your sister, let's look at influence. Let's say your sister is a nut job and she's crazy and she makes up all these reasons or these things. She never tells you anything positive. She's always condemning everything you do with mom. And she doesn't like the way you do it, but she won't offer to help. On the other hand, your brother, he's very kind. He pitches in. He helps. He does what you ask him to do when he can do it. And you understand he works hard and he has a family of his own. Who is influencing you here more? Is it your sister, the crazy one? Or is it your brother who you really care about, who helps you where he can? This is something you're going to think about throughout this course. Who are your influencers? Who are not? If a stranger came up to you on the sidewalk today and said, I need to go to the doctor's office, would you drop everything and take them to a doctor when you don't even know who they are and what doctor they want to go to or why you're even taking them? No control. That is not something. All you can do is set boundaries. So let's talk about boundaries. You're going to be empowered through decision making. And what I mean is tip number 1. I want you to designate non-negotiable you time or me time. Even if it is 15 minutes, it counts. It sets a message not only to yourself, but to others. And it says that you matter too, that you care about you. Tip number 2 is we're going to use scripts, saying things like, I can't do that today, but here's what I can do tomorrow. Or I can't do it this month, but you know what? Next month, I'll be available for X number of hours to do X number of things. And you're very specific. And this gives you agency without guilt. It gives you ownership without guilt because you're looking at your schedule and you're saying, wait, I can do this, but I can't do that. And you know what you have no control over, and you know who your influencers are, and you know what you can control and what you can't. And there are people out there like the ER doctor who knows what they're doing. You got to let go of the control. There are people that do other things better, so you don't have to do everything in caregiving. Okay? So that is tip number 2. Figure out who your influencers are and set those boundaries. Then the other thing I want you to think about is tip number 3. And this is to document everything. Clear decisions are easier when your notes and your questions are written down. Our tools in the class are going to help you with that. But these tools are incredibly important. And the reason I say that is just from my experience as a PA. If you came in the office and you had your questions written down and you had your documents and you knew when mom's symptoms started, I am so much better able to determine the treatment plan. I'll give you a perfect example of this. I'd have patients come in the office with a rash, and this was when I was doing internal medicine. But they would come in with a rash, and I'd say to them, how long have you had the rash? And they'd say, well, not very long. Well, I learned early in my medical career that that meant nothing, not very long. And so I would say, have you had it since last 4th of July, which was 2 months ago? And they'd say, yes. And I'd say, well, have you had it since New Year's? Yes. Well, now we're talking, 8 months ago, right? So I know that not very long to them meant they might have had it for a year. But to me, that's a long time to have the same rash. Something's going on, especially if it's coming and going, okay? So people use certain words that they assume you're going to know. And it's the old expression, it's not what you said, it's what I heard. This is why it's so important that you put down these notes. When you see a symptom, throw it on a napkin and write a date on it, and then throw it in a basket or put it up on the refrigerator. If you see the symptom again, write it on the same piece of paper and date it again so that we have better documentation. So things like a boundary setting worksheets, we work with those. How to set boundaries, webinars, which are different ways we can say no or say it kindly. How about self-care planners? How about reflections? How about decision-making guides? And what most importantly is communication scripts, ways that we can talk to our family, ask for help, and ways that we can talk to the physicians and get them to understand that we don't understand and we need more clarification, so that when we walk out of that doctor's exam room with our loved one, we know exactly what's going on and we can confidently tell the rest of our family members what's okay and what's not okay. It is clarity at its best and highest level. It is learning how to not have caregiving run you, but you run your own life. These aren't fluff. These are how you move from reaching to leading, from surviving to deciding. And with every single action, you now get the right to decide. And it takes practice, and it feels weird. And you may not even like it. And at first, many of us don't. But we've all been there. This is a game changer. So what I want you to do today is I want you to think about this. What's one area where you could take back control this week? Is it going to be time? Is it going to be boundaries? Is it going to be people who influence you? Is it going to be commitments? What is it that you can control and not? And that wraps up our 3 parts series of the masterclass. And it doesn't end there. Inside the course, from burnout to balance, we are going to walk through every part of this journey with you. It's with lessons, which are very short because you don't have a lot of time. It's with tools, and it's with real community. And if you're ready to claim your life back and your caregiving role so it doesn't run you anymore, join the waitlist. The doors are going to open and spots are limited. So don't miss your chance to do this differently and do it with support. I'm so excited for you, and I can't wait to see you on the inside. Take care.